following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Token Taverns! Boom shakalaka!
Welcome back to the Collector Zone. I'm Jeff Dickinson, and this is a kick-ass documentary, Token Taverns. If you haven't seen it, let's check out the trailer real quick.
The bar arcade has always kind of been a thing.
There are a huge number of arcade bars popping up all over the country.
It's this new meeting ground for people. They're doing gangbuster business.
We've been busy. We've been trying to keep beer stocked. It's nuts. Being able to experience this piece of our childhood, the whole nostalgia aspects of it, they just go so well together.
Come on in, play the games, have a beer, a whiskey, my preference whiskey, but
When I walked into my first arcade bar, I was just like almost in tears. I'm like, oh my God, someone gets me.
You get to do something that you love and share it with a community that's incredibly supportive.
90s hip-hop, beers and video games. You're doing good work.
You can't have a business like this and not be passionate about it.
Play the game with the owner of this place and he destroyed me. I might leave that in a Yelp review.
Hi, Stormy.
Hi.
Only in 2020, Stormy Daniels is coming in a reboot.
Donald Trump's favorite character in Mario Kart was Toad.
I'm triggered. I'm leaving.
I was like, oh my God, this guy's got wrestling too in this place.
If you want to play, like maybe we'll wager like tonight's tab on it.
Sweating.
The connection that goes beyond the physical game.
If it wasn't for this place, I wouldn't be who I am today.
I never thought it would become a spot where people love it as much as they do. We're just a friendly neighborhood arcade bar.
Token Taverns! Boom shakalaka!
Pretty badass, right? So, I scored this on Amazon. I'll put a link below if you want to score too. This is being streamed all over the place, so wherever your streaming service is, you can find it. It's really killer. And so I figured for you guys who think about ordering it, maybe you want to get a, copy for yourself, for your collection like me. You're like me, you're old school. You been there at the beginning, watched the whole arcade things, being born and then being transferred into these killer little, barcades. This documentary is really cool. Here's your disc. Unfortunately, you don't get like a playlist or anything, but I don't know why I'm looking, but there you go, man. I always like the colors. Yeah, so what we can do here, let me go to a little interview clip. That way you get to know, the folks behind it. And, it was kind of cool when you watch the trailer and you see some of your friends in this documentary. It's really, really good. All right, guys. Until next time, game on.
Let the games begin. Whether pinball or Pac-Man, Centipede or Space Invaders, old arcade games never go out of style. And now arcade bars are all the rage. They are the subject of a new documentary called Token Taverns. Joining me now is the director, Bob Rose, and George Courtney. He is the owner of Reboot Arcade and Bar here in Dunedin. Good to have you here, gentlemen.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is right up my alley. 80s girl, Miss Pac-Man queen. When did these games become so popular again, Bob?
Well, I'd say probably over the past 5 years, these arcade bars have been popping up everywhere, and they're bringing back the old games. And that's why I kind of noticed just from travels how they were popping up everywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh, arcades are back. Retro's in. It's the biggest thing right now.
And to combine an arcade and a bar is a magic formula because?
Oh, it's a match made in heaven. Anytime you're playing video games, you have a nice little cold beer with you. It brings back the nostalgia of being a kid, but of course, it was a Coke and probably Mountain Dew.
Oh, that sounds so perfect. So you wanted to capture this on film. Why?
Well, I felt like it was, first off, this is the first time I made a film where I'm actually part of the demographic. So this is where I was spending my time. And anytime you can make work part of your play, it's always a good thing. But when you see these things popping up everywhere, and now arcades are kind of in demand, there needs to be attention put to it. So I felt like it was the perfect time for a documentary to kind of shine a light and let people know that arcades are back.
How did you go about it?
Well, it's funny. I started out filming in 2020, And because of COVID, it really made it kind of a Tampa-based documentary, where I started following Lowry Parkade in Tampa and Vector in Clearwater, and I followed them over the course of 2 years as they're trying to, like, first survive and then thrive going through the pandemic.
And that must have been very difficult for you as a business owner.
It was very difficult. It wasn't unique to us, but we had just opened, so we pretty much, my wife and I, dumped our life savings into this arcade, and we had a really good first year, and the second year we were all excited about it, and then right around St. Patty's Day in 2020, we found out that we're going to have to be closed, and we were closed for about 7 months, and through just sheer perseverance and the wonderful community around us that really supported us when we were closed. We were selling beer, renting arcades. Other places like Lowry Parkade were renting arcades as well, and we had the ability to just kind of like pull through and come out stronger than ever on the outside.
Yeah, because I imagine that when it finally, everything did finally open up, people were hungry for some sense of normalcy, maybe even more hungry for nostalgia than they had been before. So in that way, it may have even helped you.
Yeah, it was, not only were they hungry, but we actually had to get a food license so that we could
sell
Hot Pockets to open up. So that was a little workaround, but it ended up working out to where people kind of forgot the freedoms that they had before, and then once we opened back up, they realized, like, oh wow, how cool is it to be able to go and hang out with your friends at a bar and drink a beer and play some games?
Yeah. What are the most popular games?
Oh, I would still say the old school ones. Pac-Man. We have Donkey Kong does really well, but now pinball. Pinball is one of the most popular things going, and that's one of the wonderful things that, like Bob highlighted in the in the documentary, that there was an industry that almost failed in the mid-2000s, and now they can't make enough of these things.
Yeah, and there's a major resurgence.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah.
So what will we see in the film throughout the course of the film?
Well, first off, you will definitely follow these 3 arcade bars over the course of 2 years, very in-depth. It's got a very much of a Cheers aspect to it. Our tagline is where everybody knows your game. So you're getting the barflies hanging out at the bar, and just all the fun that happens with that. But we also kind of get into the history of gaming. We talk to a lot of arcade legends, people in the field who you've known from the 80s, and they kind of help solidify and validate these arcade bars and show where they're going in the future.
Yeah, I can think of one more benefit. You're highlighting Tampa Bay at a film festival and throughout the country, and that helps our community and our economy majorly.
Absolutely. I've been in Tampa Bay for 25 years. This is my 3rd documentary, and I'm very much a Tampa Bay filmmaker. So to be quite honest, when we got curbed and I couldn't travel around and go to all these arcade bars, I'm like, I'm just making a movie at home. I mean, I love this market. And the arcade scene, the pinball scene, is huge in Tampa, and it's huge in Florida, and I think people need to know more about that.
All right, Bob, George, thank you both.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And look for Token Taverns at April 30th. It's playing at the Sunscreen Film Festival. Daytime will be right back.